Good evening, coming to you live from the Fatu Network studio. I am Jack Sisijete and welcome to the news review. First, on the headlines, a Gambian lawmaker has chastised President Barrow for what he says is Mr. Barrow's failure to uphold the ethics of political decency and morality. We'll bring you an exclusive interview on that shortly. But first, let's take a look at the newspapers. First, on the Point newspaper, the headlines read, Government more arrest in Germany over diplomatic passport scam. We must unite for a better Gambia. Also, Juve wins Commonwealth 2019 Excellent Development in Africa Award. Government more arrest in Germany over diplomatic passport scam. Banjul, the Gambia, following intense investigations into allegations of fraudulent procurement and acquisition of Gambian diplomatic passports, the Gambia government, working with our international partners, is pleased to report that arrest of several people in Germany who are currently providing pivotal information to the authorities. Also yielded significant leads into this vast and sophisticated criminal network that risks damaging the good reputation of our peaceful and law-abiding country. Ever since news of the diplomatic passport emerged, government quickly established a task force comprising officials of the Gambia Police Force, Immigration Department, and the State Intelligence Services to adequately probe the matter and prosecute all those found complicit in the sale, procurement, manufacture, and illegal acquisition of the Gambia's diplomatic passport. Also, we must unite for a better Gambia. President Barrow, the President of the Republic of the Gambia, says the country is going through a phase of transformation which calls for strong structure and a solid human resource base. To realize our goals as a government and a people, we must stand united and work to change the country for the better. Since coming to office, my priority has been to put our institutions in the right form, monitor and review their processes and success, and take proper action, he declared. Barrow was speaking on Thursday during the swearing-in ceremony of the newly appointed Secretary General and the head of the Civil Service, Defense Minister, and the Minister of the Interior, alongside newly appointed permanent secretaries. The newly appointees took 3 oaths: the oath of office, secrecy, and allegiance. Also, Juve wins Commonwealth 2019 Excellent Development in Africa Award. The Commonwealth Association of Technical Universities and Polytechnics in Africa, CAPA, has awarded its 2019 Award of Excellence Development in Africa to the Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology of the Republic of the Gambia, Mr. Badara Aliou Juve. This award was announced at the recently concluded CAPA Annual International Conference held in Kigali, Rwanda from the 25th to 31st August 2019. The award was presented on behalf of CAPA by the Prime Minister of Rwanda, Right Honorable Dr. Ngiranti Edward. The award was received on behalf of the Minister Juve by Dr. Lawali Cole, a Gambian international civil servant and executive director of the Coalition on Media and Education for Development in Africa Forum. Dr. Cole was a keynote speaker at the event. That was it on the Point newspaper. We move on to the Fourier newspaper, and the headlines read, in the diplomatic passport saga, arrest in Germany and Gambia, lawyers file bail application for Killer Ace and others. Former National Assembly member for Sami constituency, Idrissa Samba Sala, passes away. Also, residents of Manduwar, Surua face water shortage. Lawyers file bail application for Killer Ace and others. Lawyer for Ali Cham has confirmed to Fourier that he has filed a bail application for his client before the High Court. Patrick Gomez said, we have filed a bail application for the 37 accused persons at the High Court so that they can be granted bail. The 37 accused persons are 3 Sierra Leoneans, 3 Guineans, 2 Senegalese, and 29 Gambians, including executive members of Bokaloho Association of the Serekunda Market. They are alleged to have participated in a riot that led to the burning of Bakote police station and the compound of Assistant Commissioner Gorgimbub. The former National Assembly member for Sami constituency, Idrissa Samba Sala, passes away. The late Honorable Idrissa Samba Sala died on Saturday, 6 September 2019 at his residence in Brussels Bay and was laid to rest on Sunday, 7 September 2019. May his soul rest in peace. Residents of Mandua Surua face water shortage. The residents of Mandua Surua Kunda village in the western region have informed this medium that the water scarcity in their village has hit them badly. In an interview with concerned elders of the village in the presence of Dadanjai, Barrow Sise, Bakari Job, Usman Sala, and Thijan Lum all confirmed that they have been struggling with this water problem for a long time now, that they have knocked many doors for assistance to no avail, that they have approached the Brikama Area Council to explore whether their tax monies can be plowed back to them in the provision of potable water, but that their request was torn down. That was it for the Fourier newspaper. We bring you a report, a special report with our editor Lamin Jai. Madi Sise, an opposition UDP member of Gambia's legislature representing Serekunda West, told the Fatu Network that he first became betrayed by and disillusioned in President Adama Barrow when the president made a U-turn on his campaign promises of relinquishing power after serving 3 years in office. A fierce critic of President Barrow's style of leadership, especially about his handling of the transition, Mr. Cisse said he do not mind partying ways with his party if it is seen to be wanting in the 3 years issue. In this encounter with our editor Lamin Jai, Mr. Cisse also spoke about some of the legal, moral and ethical issues revolving around the 3 years Jepna plan rallies in revolt. The interview will take us through the end of this news review. Thank you for joining us.
My name is Lamin Jai. With me I have Madi Sise. Honorable Sise is the National Assembly member for Serekunda West. As you may already know, Honorable Sise is one of the most critical people towards President Adama Barrow in the country. Honorable Sise, thank you very much for agreeing to speak to us there.
It's my pleasure to speak to you, Mr. Jai.
First, I want to ask you, why are you so reproving of President Barrow?
It's very simple. You may know, all my life I've been a journalist and I'm still a journalist. So when I went into politics, one of my perceptions is that as a politician, we should stop deceiving our electorates, and we should also have morals. As a result, because President Adama Barrow and the entire coalition team have toured the length and breadth of the country, and there are certain messages that were sold. And being a member of the National Assembly and also an electorate, I think it is my civic responsibility to also express my take on the U-turn that President Adama Barrow has done.
But you were with President Adama Barrow. You were one of the people who helped enthrone President Barrow. You both come from the same political party. At some point, President Barrow left, but you rallied behind him. You went to the National Assembly, but still you were supporting Mr. Barrow. What really changed?
Yes, I've just told you, I said, until he took a U-turn, I was definitely a Barrow fan and a Barrow supporter. I fully remember one of my interviews on one of the media houses, could be Fatu Network. I said, bad or good, Barrow is our Barrow. So until a U-turn, yes, I support him.
But if you say bad or good, when you mention that, bad or good, don't you think that is a bit extreme? Before, even if he did something bad, you are saying that you're still with him.
He is our Barrow. That's what I'm saying. I remember saying that to say bad or good, he is our Barrow, because like you rightly said, Barrow was all along a member of the United Democratic Party, and we all know, because of the coalition's agreements, one of the first agreement, number one, is once the coalition decided on a particular candidate, wherever that candidate comes from, should resign from that party. So he was in our party up to the time when the convention chooses him as a flag bearer for the coalition. He resigned from the party. So that's where I'm coming from. Despite he resigned from the United Democratic Party, that is his route. But bad or good has a limit. His U-turn is the climax as far as I am concerned. I cannot follow Barrow in that U-turn, because...
What is that U-turn?
The U-turn is, they have told this country length and breadth and told Gambians that we want to move Jammeh, who was a dictator, no doubt about that, and that one of the things they will do is that they will run a transition government of 3 years, and that's where the U-turn is. Now Barrow is giving his back to the 3 years and say he's going for 5 years. That's the U-turn I'm talking about.
But the problem here is, Honorable, your party at the outset, at the beginning, supported Barrow in this line, or in this thinking that he is thinking to stay for 5 years, because remember, it was the leader of your party who came out of jail and said Barrow was going to serve for 5 years. And at that time, the entire UDP infrastructure, membership, including you, said yes.
You got it wrong. You got it wrong when you say my party, which is the United Democratic Party, supported Barrow in the 5 years. You got it wrong. You can only quote one person who is the leader of the United Democratic Party, who expressed his views as a member of the party. But I cannot remember anywhere where the party has come out with a position. We are a very organized party. We do things through our structures. If the party's position was that Barrow should go for 5 years, we would have made that very clear through our rightful structures, that is through the office of the PRO, with a press statement, or invite the press and declare the position of the party. What Honorable Dabo has said, which is Dabo has said, was not the position of the party. And nobody can hold the party responsible that is his position. So that's why I said you got it wrong. It was not my party.
But in all honesty, when Dabo made that statement, did you support him in that?
I didn't make any
statement. Did you share the same position?
I did not. Even from the onset, maybe because some things happen in isolation. Even when the issue of 3 years was in its formative stages, I was then working for Action Aid. I was on a trek at Kudang, and some militants came from Georgetown, and I stopped them at the gate. One of them is Babukar Sise of Brikamaba. I told him, you are campaigning for 3 years. I am 100% UDP, but anytime there is a U-turn, I will against you. That is way back before Mr. Dabo was even taken to jail. So my position is the agreement. Agreement may not be a legal binding thing, but it's an issue of moral.
So let me ask you this then, because clearly from the look of things, UDP is not ready yet to take a position on these 3 years that you are talking about. Are you ready to, turn your back on UDP should your party come up with a decision to say Barrow should serve for 5 years?
Definitely I will do that. Definitely. Have me on record. If the party's position is that he should go for 5 years, I would not go with the party. Because my clear consent would not allow that. I want us politicians to be honest to the electorates. You cannot go to the people and say, give me your votes, I will do A, B, C, and D, knowing very well that you are not going to do that. Because for me, Barrow's attitude is just one of dishonesty, one of deception, one of deceiving people. Because he has agreed to resign from the party. That was one of the most first clause of the agreement. Otherwise, he would not have been the flag bearer. And I'm sure when he was doing that, he knew very well he was not going for 5 years. But he gave the impression that he was going for 3. Immediately he resigned, or even immediately when the convention voted him in as a flag bearer, his first statement, he has reiterated that he is going to run a transition government of 3 years and that he will not contest. So for me, giving you back to that is dishonesty. And I cannot support President Barrow on that.
People say UDP adopted this attitude simply because of this political fallout, or falling out if you like. Barrow at some point severed ties with your party, sacked, your leaders who were serving in his cabinet. And out of that, some of you are now, behaving the way you are behaving. Is that the case, Honorable Sise?
That is not the case. In fact, Barrow's fallout with some members of the party, because I'm sure you are alluding to the removal of the UDP representation in the cabinet. If that is where you're going to, I can tell you that that is not responsible of my position. And Barrow should come out plain and tell people why he has fallen out with our cabinet ministers in his government then.
But he said it clearly. He said they are there out there to serve the interests of their party, not necessarily the interests of the country. That is what he said clearly.
He is not telling the truth. With all respect, he is not. President Barrow simply wanted our party, including the cabinet ministers then, to support him on the agenda of 5 years. That's the reason. If he tells any other thing, that's out of it. That's out of it.
And why is that so difficult for the UDP to support President Barrow in his political interest, in his agenda, if you like? What is so difficult about that?
To abandon the 3 years agreement that they have told the entire country just to follow one individual? I have said in the beginning, that is dishonesty. That's deception of politics. That is what makes it so difficult for the party to follow him, deceiving the electorates just for his individual interests. That's what makes it more difficult. To answer your question.
Has the party, do you have any knowledge whatsoever, has the party at any point, sat and discussed about coming up with a position? Because it is only 3 months before December. Yet your party has not taken any decision whatsoever. If you ask your leader, all he does is to dodge that question of whether the UDP is in for 3 years or for 5 years.
It's simple, because the United Democratic Party is not led by a dictator. He cannot come and impose anything on the party. And the party has been in existence for the past 23 years. We have structures. Decisions are reached through our organized structures. But to answer your question, I have not been privileged to any meeting where the party is coming up with a position as far as the 3 years is concerned. But I have no doubt that a big party like the United Democratic Party will definitely make it clear when the time comes. But, to underline, I am not here to speak for the party, because I am not the party's public relations officer, and I am not an executive member of the party. So I can only speak for myself as a member of the party and as an electorate, and vis-a-vis my opinions. But I cannot speak for the party.
So now let's talk about the 3 years. You are a passionate champion of the 3 years, and then there is a movement that has emerged. I think the movement formed last year. A movement that is out to try and force President Barrow to leave power in December, and you have been everywhere urging this group to go ahead and come good on their threat of removing President Barrow in December. And people are saying what you are advocating for is an illegal overthrow of a democratically elected government.
I have responded to that particular question, and I said, if holding the president accountable on his political promises, that is, I'm serving a 3-year transition government, and because you're seen to be dodging away from it, you're seen to be failing people, and people have that constitutional rights to protest peacefully against your decision. If that tantamounts to treason, I am ready to face any court.
President Barrow's political advisor, Siaka Jatta, was the one who, in fact, led the response. And what he also said, he described you as a rogue element. Are you a rogue element?
Well, I think I am too civilized in my political debates to use words like that. But I would say that's not true. I am not. I am only maintaining a position. And I have responded to his position by saying that he should put his house in order.
What is there to put to order?
Shaka, now what is happening is an issue of political crisis, looming political crisis. And we were told he is the political advisor. He should forget about me. He should forget about anybody else who is claiming for 3 years.
But if you
his
are
his master,
she has every right to also come after you.
Well, I have no problem for him saying anything against me. I'm not saying that. I am open to criticism. Anybody can say anything you want to say about me. But I also have an opinion. I'm saying he is the political advisor. His house is not in order. Because his house is not in order simply because there are people emerging all over the world asking for the president to step down after 3 years. And there are others who are also saying president should go on with 5 years. So that's a political crisis situation that is looming. Him, as a political advisor, should forget about me, forget about those, concentrate on his master, give his master accurate advice. But he is not a good political advisor. Shaka is better off an religious advisor than a political advisor. He's a non-starter in politics.
When you say religious advisor, is he an imam? Do you know his religious background?
Yes, I know his religious background. Siaka has been in the diaspora for many years, in France particularly. And he was not doing anything in France other than being a marabout. He's a marabout in France for a lot of years. So he's knowledgeable in Islam. So I think he's better to swap up with the religious advisor. He takes the religious advisor and Dembo, who is a political doyen, to come and advise the president politically. Siaka is not a good political advisor.
So, and this is what you said recently. You said President Barrow will be held responsible should anything unforeseen happen in December. Anything unforeseen, what exactly do you mean?
What I mean exactly is people are coming up, forming groups saying that come December, people are going to take to the streets. And I have no doubt about that. And when people take to the streets now, it's left to the majority of the government in place. And the chief in the government is the president. We have seen the 2000 April 10-11, it was malhandled. And now former President Yajame is being questioned for that and some of his aiders. I am saying, because there is a looming political crisis and people are definitely going to take to the streets in December, it is better for the president to be matured and handle it. And one way he can do that is to call for a dialogue of all stakeholders, including all political parties and civil society. Discuss a way out. There will be a way out. But so in case he fails to do that, and he misused the forces, the security forces, the police and the soldiers, and something happened, like somebody loses his life, things like that. But President Barrow will be responsible.
Is it your view that President Barrow will misuse the forces?
I don't know, but I'm just warning him. Whether he will do that or not, I have no idea about it. But I'm just warning him that he will be responsible because he is the president of this country. He must be able to manage situations. And one way of managing that is not confrontation. Not to, already they have ordered 2 tankers, and his aiders, political advisors, ministers, said in a public meeting that those vehicles are bought to pour hot water on Gambians, even though sometimes later the then Minister of Interior has withdrawn that statement. But it is still on record. Should anything like that happen, then we'll hold them responsible, because I don't think any responsible government can just pour hot water on your citizens for simply exercising their constitutional right to protest peacefully.
You are a National Assembly member. You are very influential. You talk, people listen to you. And if you look at the composition of the Operation 3 Years Jatna movement, one does not need to travel far to know that a lot of its members are actually from the UDP. Have you at any point sat or met this group as a way of knowing exactly what their intentions are?
Their intentions are very clear. They are all over on audios. They're all over on messages. You know, the intention is to hold the president accountable on his political promise.
You think that's
that's peaceful for that matter. And obviously, when you say majority of them are from the United Democratic Party, well, look at the parties that are now currently up and running in this country. The biggest political party is the United Democratic Party. So any gathering, obviously, you will have the number of the UDP will be more than other parties. That's proportionally, anywhere, any group,
Operation 3 Years Jatna.
any group, I said, even in the National Assembly, we have more seats. You go to local government, we have more. So therefore, any gathering, it is just natural that you will have more of the United Democratic Party, because by virtue of the party's membership is big. You can't rule that out. But that does not make President 3 Years UDP. It cannot.
And there are people who find that quite suspect. They think the country's problem, for example, just at this weekend, APRC, they held a rally, a meeting in Larakunda, German, and what they were saying is that the country's problem are entirely UDPs.
Then that
people who come from UDP are the ones going around, including yourself, going around creating trouble.
If that is the case, it is the Gambians then Gambians are the problem, because here, I don't know of next year, but this year, and from the past elections, we formed the majority. So if anybody say we are the ones who are troublemakers, then Gambians are troublemakers, because majority is a majority party. So even though we are calling on the majority party to be troublemakers, APRC is in the minority, from 47, 48 seats in the National Assembly to 5 seats. It's in the minority. So that's their opinion. I really respect their opinion. They can say whatever they want to say. But at the end of the day, people who listen and see will make their judgment. But I can tell you that the UDP, if there is any troublemaker in this country, it is count UDP out of it. We've been in this struggle for more than 23 years, and there has never been a case where we are taken to court and found guilty. It was the then APRC government that had been troubling us all around, because they knew we are coming up. We will definitely flush them out, and today they are flushed out by a combination of a coalition, group. So if that same small group comes to say we are troublemakers, well, that's their opinion. But I think the Gambians will make a final judgment.
And if you get to the #1 citizen of this country, President Barrow, he is quite disappointed in UDP and the membership. You know, he believes or he claims he is the one who went about making UDP, include the membership, the adherents, including your person. Here is someone who helped, who campaigned for you to become a National Assembly member.
He has not.
And not just that.
President Barrow has not campaigned for me. When I was campaigning in Serekunda West, President Barrow has not stepped a foot in any of my rallies, and he has not sent anybody.
It was preceded by his nationwide tour, disguised.
But where is he from? I would have agreed to his assertions if he had come out from another party and say, I made UDP that. But where is he from? It's the other way around. It's the UDP that make him who he is. This is the man who has lost parliamentary election in his home village. This is the same man who, even the last presidential election, lost as a presidential candidate against Mama Gende in his Jimara constituency. This is the man who has lost the councillorship in his ward. Who is this man to say he made me member of parliament or other members of parliament in Gambia? He could have done that in his home village of Mankamankunda, where he is disowned.
But here is also a man who emerged, who threw his head into the ring when there was nobody around.
Do you know how he became a candidate? You see, when he keeps on bragging in the television, because he's bragging, but he knew very well how he came to that position. He was asked to come, and we could have had another candidate other than him. But by virtue,
no better person.
No, there are far more better people than him. Far more better people.
Why did you choose him?
Very simple. When the selection was done at our loan, not because even before the convention, when we wanted a presidential candidate among ourselves, we're so democratic. We opened the line for people to apply. He hasn't got the fit and the gut to apply. He did not. He know that. If you're watching this thing, he know that what I'm saying is the truth. He has not got the gut and the fit to come and apply. But some people asked him to apply. Others, we had 3 applicants. And there are potential people also. But at the time, in the clique, that was a compromise. That by virtue of age, he is a little bit older than the other 2 young ones who can be good candidates. And then give him the benefit of the doubt as a little bit elder than those people. Because the Gambia had just come from an immature leadership. When Jammeh took over, he was just 30. We never want that kind of immature people to lead the country and lead us into all kinds of problems. But he hasn't got the guts and the fit to come. When he brags on the TV and say, that was nobody, it was me.
At the time of the parliamentary elections, UDP and President Barrow were like 2 peas in a pod. That was the time UDP was able to pull out this much seats. UDP has been around because for well over 2 decades. UDP couldn't make any significant inroad politically.
Tell me, in the political life of all the political parties in this country, who has ever taken the lead in the National Assembly since '96? Tell me. Even if it is by 2, we are always ahead of all other political parties in the parliament. That was nobody. We've been minority leader for 2 times. Because we lead the minority in the House. So if you tell me that UDP has never, and there are reasons of that.
We are talking about 31 seats. No, it's the first time in the life of UDP.
But what I'm saying, we have always been taking the lead. And what stopped us taking over the entire elections, we all know.
And what
because of the poor political electoral irregularities.
No, but I mean, people, these were
whether you like it, Mr. Njai, or not. Look, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
In the political history of the Gambia from 1996 to date, there has been no other political party, opposition, that lead UDP. Tell me one. So lead is lead. This is not because, I'm telling you, this man you are saying was responsible has lost election in his own constituency, Jimara. He has lost his presidential election. He has lost his presidential just in 2016. You don't know that? Go back to the statistics, the results.
But then you will realize,
so how could you attribute?
You will realize that it is only by the grace of God or the simple majority, the grace of the simple majority, that people were like you were able to win, for example, a seat here in Serekunda West?
I have responded to a question like this. I said, the law is the law until it is changed. So far as there is simple majority, even if I won by 1 vote, I'll be declared member of parliament for Serekunda West. That does not matter. That is the law. And that has to change. Doesn't matter. 1 vote is the law.
Even if it is the law, but it is also important.
Let me also tell you that I have a life before politics. So what is the difference? When you say the likes of me will not go to the parliament if it was not simple majority. That's the law. But I can tell you, before going into politics, I have a life. I have a life before politics, and I'm going to continue to have a life after politics. So that for me is immaterial.
But life in politics bode well for you. But here, because you are here, soon as you became National Assembly member, in fact, the president said he in fact funded your campaign.
That is not true.
He was the one who gave money to each and every UDP candidate in each of the constituencies, including you.
That is not
Madi
true.
To contest the elections.
The president is not telling the truth. You see, in some countries, he could be impeached by lying. He didn't give me my funds. If he has, can he prove it? Let him prove it. When he proves that he sponsored my campaign, if he proves that, I will resign.
And you were running around him. Here was a man who gave you a car.
Around him?
He gave you a car.
He didn't give me a car.
The car, the 53 vehicles that were given to the National Assembly.
He did not give me any vehicle.
My position on that.
No, my position on that is very clear. I think you, the journalists, are not doing your duties well. Your responsibility. You're not executing your responsibilities well. Adama Barrow, as president, have not given me a bicycle.
So how about the car then?
He did not give me a bicycle. Are you asking me who gave me that vehicle?
That's the vehicle, yes.
Good. No. Are you implying that he gave me, or you're asking me a question?
I am saying that vehicle came from him.
I said that is not true.
Who gave you the vehicle then?
The National Assembly Services. That's the one who gave me the key and I signed.
But no, you should not, Honorable, with all due respect, you should not go and hide behind that.
I will know who he has given me 10,000 3 times.
Excuse me. Insurance.
No, I have my insurance in my car.
Yes.
I have my insurance in my car.
Yes.
Go down and look at it. He has given me 10,000 3 times. I said yes.
And you took this money?
If he gives me millions, or give me a vehicle, I say he gave me. He did not give me a vehicle. The vehicle was given to me by the National Assembly Services, and I signed that document and gave me the keys.
When you say National Assembly Services, we all know President Barrow came out.
You
the National Assembly came out. Everybody came out and said it was President Barrow who donated this to the NAT. So the National Assembly that is just a conduit. This National Assembly Services.
Who said? But have you gone beyond to prove that?
The government said that.
Have you gone beyond to prove that?
But that was there. There was no going beyond that, because what was out there was very clear. The release that came from the government was that 53 vehicles were donated by an anonymous donor, and these vehicles are being donated to the National Assembly members, including you.
Oh, the 53 vehicles are donated by an
anonymous donor
to the National Assembly.
To President Barrow to donate to the National Assembly.
Well, anyway, what I can tell you, Lamin,
and you are enjoying that vehicle, clearly.
Look, I have been driving cars. Go to my house. I have my cars parked there. Like I said, I have a life before Parliament, and I'm going to continue to have a life after Parliament very soon.
How about the money? How do you explain that? Do you 10,000?
I have explained that because over and over, I can go over the same thing. You see, if a man is not lying, he always stick to the same thing. He has given me 10,000. Here, the first 10,000. The place was packed full in my office. I took the money from Lamin Cham.
Did you ask Lamin Cham before?
Why would I ask?
I think you should.
I would not.
This was important. Accountability for future.
If there are any accountability, I'm ready to face it. If that is your worry, it's not my worry. It's not my worry.
Because I believe a politician of your standing should not be going around picking money. I
have not gone around, point of correction, to pick the money. They drove their vehicle, find me here. drove that vehicle, find me in my house. I have never gone after anybody. Nobody can say, I went to the State House to run after money. And after all, $10,000 is what is that?
And even if it is $1, I think if it is coming from somebody who would be giving you this money,
and for what?
In exchange for something, including your integrity. Including your integrity. You should be mindful of that.
He has discussed with you that he was given to me for an purpose.
But clearly we know President Barrow had an agenda. And
what was the agenda?
The agenda is for him to grow his political life. And he needed people to support him.
So he thinks 10,000 can sway me.
That could be a start.
Let him give me $1 million. It will never sway me. And 3 years is 3 years. He should come down, period.
And some people are saying that this whole 10,000, President Barrow going around dishing out 10,000, the idea came from you. You are the one who went to the airport, Barrow International
Honorable Madisise?
Yes, to the airport and told him that
Honorable Madisise,
we are having problems in terms of
Honorable Madisise?
Yes, that's a lie.
That is a lie. If anybody can prove that, there are cameras, let them prove. Let them get me out at the airport, see me line up. I have never seen the president off or receive him since he came to power. I'm not that type of politician who run after president. After all, as far as I'm concerned, I have more integrity and I'm more respected in my constituency than the president. He has his constituency, that is the Gambia. I have my constituency, Serekunda West. I am elected. I'm not nominated. I cannot belittle my position, just run after him. If that is your notion, it's a wrong notion, but there are tips. Let somebody replay it. You will never see Honorable Madi at the airport seeing the president off, much more begging him money. That's not true, Sanjay, with all respect. If I could say another word harsher than that, I would use it, but it's not true. I have never begged President Adama Barrow. Nowhere. Well, if I have, let them prove me and put the money,
the 30,000 that the 30,000 that Lamin Cham would come after you and give you. When he gives you this money, what does he tell you?
It was 10,000 3 times.
Yes. And what was he telling you?
Nothing. The president said, let me give you. I said, fine, give it to me. And I said, the first interview I had, I said, I was in Brussels then, and somebody, was it? No, it was your colleague. Called me in Brussels and asked. I said, yes, I'm in Brussels. He cannot buy me. When I come back, if he gives me another 10,000, I'll take it. He can never buy me.
So you mean even tomorrow if President Barrow should call you and said, Mr. Cisse, here is 10,000.
I will take it and spend it the way I want to spend it. And he cannot move me an inch. In fact, he has stopped doing it because perhaps you know the reasons. That's a long time when he stopped that. If he had continued giving me, it would have been almost maybe 50, 60, 80,000 by now. But he has stopped long since. But perhaps you may have an agenda that I don't know.
So why are you, all out to take money from people, even if you don't share their...
Point of correction. I am point of correction.
You said you will take money.
Point of correction. I have never been all out collecting money. I don't do that. I said I have a life before Parliament. Do you know how many thousands of dollars I have signed with UNESCO to run a project? I cannot run after 10,000. If I want to make money, I sit down, write my projects on my organization, implement my projects, give both the narrative and the financial report, and that's it. And I have done that several times from 2006 to date. I have a life before politics, and like I said, I will continue to have a life after politics. I cannot run after people collecting money. Just point of correction. I have not done it, and I will not do it.
You are in support of President Barrow leaving power in December.
Very well.
And do you really believe that the force or the movement that is out there can really force the president to step down?
I don't think the movement is out to force. The movement is out to exercise their constitutional right to protest against something that they feel they cannot accept. And whether that is going to force President Barrow out of office or not, I don't know. But I know come December, some concerned Gambian citizens will take up to the streets. Very sure of that. But whether they will force him out, that's another thing. They did not say that we are going with sticks and guns to get the president out. They said the president has a moral responsibility to step down after 3 years. He is on record from the first speech he gave at Kairaba that he's going to run a transition government of 3 years and will not participate in the elections. From there, he started his campaign with his entire team to every part of this country, the same message. Those who feel that he should honor his promise, I said they will take up the streets. I am an electorate, bear in mind, not only a member of parliament, I also have elected people. And he's one of those I elected in office. It's my constitutional right to hold him responsible on his campaign promises. And I'm going to do that.
Do you realize that your position is under threat? President Barrow is on the verge of forming his own political party, and if that happens, his party will have representatives in every constituency. Do you know that your position is under threat, Honorable Cisse?
That is the beauty of democracy, Mr. Njai. But let me remind you again, I have a life after politics.
So you are not scared at all?
Why should I be scared? I am 62. Why would I be scared of... in fact, in the first place, who told you that I'm going to run again? Who said so?
Oh, so you don't have any plan?
No, I'm just telling you. Who said that? You say I'm scared. I have a life. I will have a more productive and useful life during and after my tenure as member of parliament. And mark you, these positions are temporal. They are temporal. So I have not put all my life in parliament. Like I said, I'm 62, so I have lived about 60 years before politics. So what is it?
So you don't plan to...
I'm not scared.
I
am not scared, and my party is not scared. When come 2022 elections, this seat will go to UDP, whether me or somebody, but it's going to UDP. Period. No doubt about that. I'm not scared.
Well, the political landscape, for example, is quite interesting. And UDP, your party, you know, there is a lot of confidence galore. But do you realize that the constitution is being, you know, amended or changed? A new constitution is being drafted, and there might be changes to the electoral law. Do you at any point think about this as a party, as members of UDP?
I know that better than you. I've just come from Holland, where I'm a member of the Human Rights and Constitutional Matters. 1 week we were in Holland, Netherlands, in Hague, just building on the constitutional building process. That document you are talking about will finally rest in my hands to review it and then go back to plenary. I know that. And we want the best for this country. We don't want a simple majority to be leading. No. 51 plus, 50% plus 1. That's what is all over the world. Presidential term limits. I'm in for the betterment of this country. I'm not looking at myself, but I'm looking at the nation.
If that happens, UDP is going to find it really difficult to survive, because you cannot go one man in this. And clearly, from what observers have seen, there is no party out there that the UDP can work with at the moment.
Well, if we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. That's just speculations. So I would not want to waste my time into that too much. We are going in for 50 plus 1. We don't want this simple majority thing. And UDP is going to contest. And I tell you, if Barrow forms his party in January, and his party is National Development Party, trying to coin the National Development Plan with his party. That's the name of the party, let me tell you if you don't know. And they are going to launch it in January. We, the UDP, are not scared of that. And one thing I can tell you, let it be on, keep it on record, Barrow will not come close to a second position.
So you are saying,
not even
you are saying his party will be launched in January.
Yes, yes.
How did you know that?
I don't need to tell you that, Lamin. If you want further, go and find out. But they are going to launch it in January. And it's NDP. You know that, in fact, you are just trying to ask, but you know that.
So now let me ask you, let's talk about the sectors. As a member of the National Assembly, what do you make of the sectors? Say, for example, the economy. I have seen you summoning ministers to the National Assembly, but lawmakers are supposed to be there to not only provide oversight, but also to go about reviewing and assessing the status quo, the state of affairs, in terms of the sectors, in terms of the lives of the people. What do you see as a National Assembly member?
Well, you are right. Our function is not only oversight. That's why we all belong to different select committees and also other committees. There is a committee responsible of overseeing or monitoring government projects. I do not belong to that committee, but they report back to the plenary. So we all have the same level on it as far as the National Assembly is concerned. We know, and the President has been always saying it, everybody has been singing it, that the economy inherited was very bad. We are supposed to carry on certain measures to catch up. But I don't think the government is really living to the realities of the post-status of the economy for some reasons. Recently, our cabinet has been expanded by 2 ministries, the women and the defense. And those are extra burden on the economy. Our army is too large, and we don't have any external threat. That's another burden on the economy. And the usual presidential trips are many. And that is not, I don't have issue with the numerous trips, but my issue is the size of the delegations could have been sized down to a reasonable number, and still, because the president needs to go out, because we can't have it all here. You have to go and attend meetings, but you downsize your size of your international delegates. These are some of the measures we need to take, and we are not. And the issue of vehicle policy also is another way of saving some money. There are a lot of things supposed to be done to take care of the economy, but we are not. And for the past 1 year and now going to the next year, President Barrow and his government do not really care about that. He's distracted. He wants to be in power. He's talking about trying to form his party structures, calling meetings here and there. So it's more of focus on entrenching and perpetuating himself into power than really looking into the economy of this country.
But the problem we have with our National Assembly, I will use this to support what I'm going to say. One of your National Assembly members, Sidi Jata, in a recent debate, plenary at the House, what he said was a lot of National Assembly members are there, but they do not really understand issues. So would this come off as a problem in terms of the National Assembly keeping up with its responsibility?
Actually, that is not the issue. We have seen since we came to, we are only 3 years in office, and we have seen how other parliaments operate. It does not matter if you are a novice just for the first time coming into the parliament.
It's not being about being novice, it's about being people who don't even have an idea.
That's what I'm saying.
To say the ABCs of an economy, or the basic ABCs of the health sector, for example.
Maybe the way I'm saying it is not the way you think I should say it, but I'm referring to the same thing. What happens in other countries is every parliament, every member of parliament have an office of well-knowledge people. Those are the ones that will do the research, they'll do things for you, and by the time you are 1, 2 years, you are there with them, you move with them. You go, those members of parliament will go, but those technocrats will stay in those offices, a new member of parliament comes and they go with you. This is some of the things we need in the National Assembly for future prospect. But we don't have that in the National Assembly. You only have somebody elected, you don't even have an office in the parliament.
Don't you think that is dangerous?
It is.
To have National Assembly members to come and then vote yes, no, when they don't even know what they are voting for.
Actually, not everybody is voting on things that they don't know. I can tell you, composition is very good. Most of the backgrounds are good. But nobody can be an all-rounder in all issues. But I have not seen any single member of parliament who I can say is completely zero. No. If that is what Sida Jata said, I beg to differ.
How is your relationship like with your fellow UDP National Assembly members? 31 of you.
Very cordial.
But there are some who, I mean, reports have come out, claims have come out.
It does not matter.
Speculation that these people are on the verge of converting.
It does not matter.
Barrow camp.
It doesn't matter. That won't affect any relationship with any of the members among ourselves. That's politics. Mark you, we are there.
So they are free to do so.
Excuse me, Mark you, we are there with other members of parliaments who are from other parties, and we are doing well. Much more the same person that will come on the same political ground. If you have a dissenting view with the person, must that create problem? No. Our relationships are cordial. And we all come from different backgrounds. So the guy coming from Wuli Sudajada as MP, me coming from here, the other from Sabak Sanjal, no difference, we're cordial, same family. In most cases, some of them are our head of delegates when you travel.
In a word, what would you prefer as a solution to the myriad of challenges and problems facing the country right now?
Generally or specific? I want to be
generally.
Specific.
Just one issue. Let's say, for example, this 3 years issue that is hovering over the country.
Stakeholders conference. All stakeholders conference. All political parties, whether you are part of a coalition or not, conference. Civil society, all come. Women come. Youths come. Technocrats, religious people. Stakeholders conference. It's not late. The president should have that boldness to call that. You see, the coalition is no more existing. They have their cake, they sold it to the Gambians, we bought the cake. It's us who have the cake now and not them. They don't own the thing now, it's us. You cannot eat your cake and have it the same. No, they sold it, we bought it. Said they have nothing to do. Now, President Adama Barrow should just call an all stakeholders conference, let Gambians find a way forward. And definitely we will have. When the thing going was tough, Jammeh was here killing, maiming people. That was that consensus thing, and he's out. So I cannot see 3 years to be a problem. No, unless the president wants to make it a problem, and if he makes it a problem, he'll dance to the tune.
Honorable Madi NKCC, National Assembly member for Serkunda West, thank you very much for your time.
You're most welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.